I would make the case to you that while LeVar Ball is not the perfect parent, and there's many parts of his parenting which I will not employ with my own son, nor would I tell you should employ with your son or your daughter, he might be the perfect parent for Lonzo Ball. I want you to think about this for a second. Like, while LeVar Ball attracts attention, while he is trying to kind of be, the head of the Kardashian Kardashian clan of basketball.
He's Chris.
Yeah, he's kind of the Chris. There's kind of like a idiot savant kind of thing going on there, to which he says crazy things that should be laughed off, and it should cause us to turn off our cameras. Instead, it's drawn to him. Mm-hmm. The fact is that Lonzo is not really an alpha sort of personality. And LeVar takes a lot of that pressure away from him. LeVar talks, he just plays. LeVar brags, Lonzo is quietly confident. That it somehow kind of works together, and that if their personalities were the same, it would be way too much, and Lonzo wouldn't be who he is without LeVar. And LeVar doesn't work on his own, but coupled with Lonzo, it somehow meshes, kind of like that perfect couple. Whereas if two alphas can't get married, that just doesn't work. Yesterday, Magic said this: if he's getting triple-doubles in the summer league, he's going to get triple-doubles in the regular season. Just like me. When I got here, there was pressure. I was #1 pick. I didn't care about that. I'm going to play my game. Lonzo's going to play his game. The great ones do. That's accurate, but it's also the pressure. A lot of that pressure is taken away because LeVar ends up being front and center. When he doesn't play well in the first game of Summer League, it's LeVar that immediately answers questions to TMZ. It's LeVar that also answers questions when he does play well. Like, LeVar just keeps talking and acts like a buffer, and Lonzo can just kind of fit in and blend in and play basketball because of LeVar. Like, it's a crazy way to look at it, but he actually might be the perfect parent for Lonzo Ball. Maybe not. It might flame out with LiAngelo or LaMelo, who went up for a dunk and got hung in an AAU game over the weekend and could be an early offseason recipient of a AAU version of Shaqtin' a Fool. It's kind of a weird place in which the Lakers are in. Remember, Rob Pelinka, who's helping run the Lakers along with Magic Johnson, is a former agent. Rich Paul, you know the name. He's also LeBron James's agent. He's like, man, Rich Paul, you were awesome with this. You were really, because the Lakers want to create an environment to which, think of the trigger words in which they're using, right? He makes the passes that leads to baskets. He's a great teammate. He makes other people better. They want to foster this environment to which other people want to come to Lakerland, that Rich Paul feels comfortable in negotiating with them, and that LeVar Ball may be outspoken, braggadocious, but think of who Lonzo is. The Laker thing, it's a crazy circus that's going on in L.A., and you can't take too literally what Magic Johnson says about any player because, look, he thought D'Angelo Russell would be a superstar. You go back to when he was at ESPN, or you read his Twitter account, and he's not the greatest evaluator of what's great and what's just okay and what doesn't measure up to. That's kind of who Magic is. But you do have buffers between Lonzo and the real world, and somehow it feels like it's going to work, just like it's worked to get him to this point. Think about it. As much as LeVar Ball stealing the spotlight from the rest of the players at UCLA and even his son and Steve Alford, or some of the negative things that he said, as much as that might make you throw up in your mouth a little bit, he called his shot. His son ends up in L.A. His son's the #2 pick. His son played at least up to, if not exceeded, any expectations for the Summer League. And they continue to create this environment to which, in a year, people are going to want to come to L.A., which is the opposite of what happened at the end of Kobe Bryant's run in L.A., where nobody wanted to come play with Kobe because it was Kobe's team and Kobe couldn't share his toys in the sandbox. Kind of a weird way of looking at the fact that LeVar Ball's not the perfect parent, but he might be the perfect parent for Lonzo Ball. Holly, I want to ask you a little bit later about you obviously covering golf. You know the relationship between the late Earl Woods and Tiger Woods. and about how, in many ways, that kind of worked, right?
It did work, and many people like to point out that it was flawed in some ways. I mean, he had Tiger on the Mike Douglas show when Tiger was 2 years old, banging balls out there. Earl knew that he was a prodigy. He knew that. And you can say whatever you want about those two, but they're one of, if not the most famous father-son duo in sports history, I think. And Earl created what was the greatest golfer that we're ever going to see. From 1998 to 2008, we're not ever going to see anything else like that. Nobody hit it like Tiger Woods. You stand behind him on the driving range or anything like that, nothing sounds like that. And the way that ball came off that club face and his competitive spirit, everybody else knew that Tiger was going to win. Those 10 years, we're not going to see that kind of dominance again. But again, I will point out, in 2001, in an interview with Golf Digest, this is very interesting, Earl said, "I never treated Tiger like a kid. I treated him as an equal. We transcended the parent-child relationship a long time ago and became best friends. Doug, I don't know about you, but my mother was never my best friend. She was always my parent. Always my parent."
Yeah, it's a hard one. That's like when people come over to my house. I don't like when I first meet kids and they call me Doug. I don't know. Maybe I'm a traditionalist. Yeah. You go the Mr. Gottlieb thing, which does feel old. And then if at some point you kind of, it's okay, you can call me Doug. I don't like the first thing to be, "Hey, Doug." Like, it's just weird, especially when it's like an 8-year-old kid, right?
It is.
I don't know. But it doesn't always work. Like, I grew up in Orange County. Marv Mrnovich was my trainer. Todd Mrnovich was a legendary high school football, basketball player, and then he went to USC. He was the first-round pick of the Raiders, and everyone knows how that story has come out.
Right.
So it doesn't always work, and some of it just comes down to the wiring of each individual kid. Like, sometimes an overbearing parent on a kid that doesn't know how to accept it ends up causing the kid to not want to play the sport,
exactly right.
Ends up to have him do something else. For Lonzo's specific and unique personality, he's likable. He wants to be coached. He's sort of soft-spoken in comparison. He wants to make other people better. It's more about the team. LeVar is the polar opposite, and however screwy it might be, the way the kid plays is the way you're supposed to play basketball, making others around you better, and it seems to have worked. Again, not the perfect parenting style,
right,
but much like Earl Woods, at least on the golf course, it was the perfect parenting style for his son to have the confidence it takes to play a game.
For Tiger's personality. He
Yes.
knew him absolutely in and out, yeah.